and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County. Hello, Oregon. Hello, America, and beyond. And if you're watching this right now, if you're one of the few people who are actually catching this, would you do me a favor? Whatever platform you're on, would you share this? Would you share this somewhere? So that maybe someone else might be able to see it, because what we're going to be talking about today is going to affect the people who live in Southern Oregon. So if you know someone in Southern Oregon, share this video with them or share this podcast with them, and they would probably thank you for it. I would like to hope so. And please like and subscribe to my pages. I've got a good guest coming on. We are activists here on the Rob Taylor Report. I've been an activist for years. And sometimes to get the story, you really have to get in and find out what's going on. And that means you have to sometimes go into other people's events and see what they're doing and ask them questions. And sometimes they don't like you coming to their events. Sometimes they don't like it when people show up to their protest. I don't know. I'm kind of flattered when I do a rally and there's about 6 guys across the street with signs telling me how much I suck. To me, that's flattery. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm screwed up in the head or something, possibly. But that's what, to me, is flattering, when people actually want to come and protest one of your events. We had about 120 protesters at the Turning Point event that we held at the theater, the Egyptian Theater. And that was a significant number of protesters. But what's funny is that when the left has an event and our people goes to their event, it's not the same response. Because when I've had protesters, we've actually offered them food. We've offered them hamburgers. I remember there was that event that we had, the Freedom Family Faith event we had in Bandon. There were protesters, and we went over and we offered them hamburgers. You want to come over and eat some burgers? If they're on us, they're free. And they wouldn't even come and eat our burgers. So it's funny how the people on our side seem to act differently. And I hate that, our side, their side. We're all Americans. We just have different views. But yet when people with our views goes to one of their events, it's like we've basically kicked their mother in the gut or something. It's weird, the response we get. They really hate us no matter what. They want to protest us when we have our events, and we're not allowed to even show up to their events. So I'm glad I got a gentleman who's going to come on to the show today. He's on right now. I'm going to pull him on, and we're going to talk about his experience this past Saturday of going to a Pride event. And I'm sure you all know him. It's TJ Stocks. TJ, how you doing, man? You're almost there. He's
okay. I hit the wrong button. I was trying to hit unmute, and I kept hitting the arrow instead. But hello, thanks for having me again.
No problemo. And so I was telling everyone how, our side acts differently when we have protesters compared to the other side. Maybe I shouldn't say that always, because we had Emily show up to our last event, and she didn't get such a nice reception, and that's because the lady who organized the event had her Jeep spit on by Emily. And so, she wasn't very happy to see her there. But
Right.
the rest of us had no problem. We don't care if you want to come and stand, that's fine. So I don't understand it. And tell us about the event that you went to. First, tell us, what do you normally do? Tell us about your channel, what you normally do, and why you would go to an event like this. And then tell us about the event.
Well, normally what I originally wanted my channel to be about was just about my farm and my animals and stuff like that. But I started at the first No Kings protest. I went down there and just live streamed it. And I've been to 25 of their boardwalk protests since then. And it's like I have some people now at this point that are welcoming me down there. They say they're glad to see me and stuff like that. But then you have and that's usually the older ones. The Anybody like younger than 50 out there, they usually get kind of uptight, and aggressive towards me. But I mean, I've been assaulted a bunch of times. I've had my camera ripped out of my hand. I've been spit on. I've been hit with a flagpole. I've
What has
you know.
happened usually when someone has, like ripping your phone out of your hand? What has happened in those types of situations?
Well, so there's one that I like to bring up the most. It's one of the organizers of and he's like part of the Coos County Democrat de-escalation team, they call them. They walk around with little badges on.
Yeah.
But this guy named Silas, and I was walking down the sidewalk and I filmed this woman's sign, and he steps in front of me and he's like, "She's had enough. She doesn't want to be filmed." And I'm like, I wasn't being aggressive about it or anything like that. And then he's like just all up in my face, and he's like, "And I don't want to be filmed." And I'm like, "Well, you're out in public, Silas." And he like starts trying to walk around behind me, and I'm not gonna let somebody stand behind me, when they're being aggressive towards me. So I turn around and film him, and he just grabs my phone and takes it. And I mean, then he gave it right back. I cussed him out a little bit, probably. I don't remember exactly my response.
Right.
It wasn't friendly, but you know, but yeah, he stopped going down there for a while after that. So I don't know, but yeah, there's been times that just I've been surrounded. I've been called Nazi and pedo and everything that you can think of down there too. So I mean,
Well,
but
of
I mean,
course.
I let it roll off my back for the most part. I go down there, and what they hate the most about my presence is the fact that I'm kind to them. I thank all of them for coming. I say, God bless your First Amendment rights. And they don't know how to deal with kindness, because they have this image of anybody on the other side as aggressive, arrogant, whatever their pre whatever is to about us, you know.
Right. And your platform, you're on YouTube, but you also are on X, aren't you?
Yeah, I post like I just repost a lot of stuff that I see that I like, and I mostly do it so I can go back and look at it later and remember stuff that happened in the past. And a lot of that's good now, like where you can go back and bookmark the stuff, essentially bookmarking the stuff from like COVID now, for example, now that there's a lot of COVID stuff coming out. Like
Right.
you can go back and see what the politicians and the news people were saying back then and compare it to what's going on today. And that's mostly what I do on X. I do occasionally post like individual stuff, like earlier, or like I'm trying to figure out all the different sponsors, the taxpayer funded sponsors that were part of this event, and I'm going to make a post of each of those.
So that was something I saw you say somewhere, is that they didn't get a lot of business sponsors, that their sponsors were mostly government and DOJ, I think you said.
No, I put there was um South Coast Head Start, yeah, South Coast Head Start, and they had a booth down there, and they're funded. They get grants from DHS, and you can go and like that's you're able to find all that information, how they get some of their funding and stuff. And so, I mean, that's federal funding there, but I'm sure there's I didn't really deep dive into it, but I'm sure there's a lot of state or local tax dollars that might be going to them
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
the nonprofit organizations, the South Coast Equity Coalition, the I forget the name of the others, but they all are people, are organizations, I should say, that are supported by grants, our tax dollars. But Head Start, here's the one that's disturbing for me is, and I'm thinking maybe we were lucky, but here in Bandon, my granddaughter wasn't able to go to Head Start, go to preschool because they didn't have enough teachers for the kids. And so she wasn't able to go to this program. And I'm starting to think maybe we should defund all of them if this is the kind of crap that this money is going to go for. I don't think Head Start should be at a pride festival. I don't really think that this is something, what would you do? I would have just as much problem if this was a religious event. Say this was a Buddhist event. Buddhists are peaceful. They're pretty peaceful people. They're beautiful. But why would you have Head Start at a Buddhist event? Why would you have Head Start at any other event other than an educational event? That just doesn't seem to me. I mean, if you were having something with all the schools, if you were having something where you had educational foundations that were lining up to present stuff, that would be one thing. But to have a pride event, what the hell kind of message are they sending to these kids? I don't know. I just want to hear your opinion on that.
Well, I think I honestly I think it's deliberate, and same with like some of the activities that they had. It it wasn't as much, I don't think, about pride as showing the kids what pride is, and that I feel like having like the cute little stuffed animal crafts and stuff like that they had down there, and the like the little games and the like scavenger hunt, and like that was for the kids. And by having the preschool booth down there, and there was another educational program that was down there too. I'd have to go back through my live stream and find it exactly, but they had a booth there too. But it's so that it would encourage parents to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is gonna be okay for kids, like, so like, because obviously they have the Head Start there, so they're gonna bring they're gonna bring kids down to that event. And I think that's what it was about, was about showing kids this alternative lifestyle.
Oh, it's totally about indoctrination into this lifestyle, accepting things that kids might not ever be exposed to until they go to Head Start and they see this crap on the wall. They see, I love the rainbow crocheted penis. What were they? Penis cozies? I'm not even sure what they were. And vagina parts. Were they giving those away to the children as well?
So those weren't at the event. I think they kept that stuff
goodness.
for at the Cozy Craft Company or whatever, the old Time Bomb building. They had that at like right before their 18 plus drag show that they had, because they had a whole event after the park thing. And yeah.
Oh God, that's so screwed up. Oh my gosh, that is so screwed up. I'm showing the start of your video here.
I walk around the backside so they don't clock me right away.
Right.
I like try to look across the pond to see like what's going on. If there's anything I really need to be concerned with. That's kind
Okay,
of where
so
it
I
all
want hold
started.
on right there. Hold on right there. I want to stop this video. Okay, let's see if I can stop it. Okay, you see that cross right there?
Yeah, it's the Vietnam Memorial. Yeah.
That is the Vietnam Memorial Cross. And I forget which organization paid to have that cross put up. And it was that cross was way back in the back for a while. And somebody, I believe they broke it. They vandalized it. They broke the arm off of it. And so the city decided to bring that cross to the forefront right there at the entrance. They fixed it. And let me tell you the hubbubaloo that the crazy leftists threw for having that cross there, which wasn't even a symbol of religion. It was a symbol for the Vietnam veterans. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, screw you. They can have this cross because it's historical. It's not religious. It's a monument. It's not religious. And so they were really ticked. And I'm surprised that cross hasn't been damaged since. But it's funny that they get upset are pissed off because people don't want to have that kind of indoctrination paid for with their tax dollars, much less put into a public park. And these are the same people who fight against crosses, inanimate objects that are sitting there, not hurting anybody, not giving away weird toys to kids. Strange how that works, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but it's very strange. And that was honestly when I walked into the park the first time to see like kind of what was going on. I kind of walked up to that and just kind of said a little prayer in my head, like, oh God, because I was about to walk into, who knows what. I had no idea how it was going to be at the time. And I didn't expect much aggression really at this event. But I mean, I still had a few moments of it.
And I'll get that. Let me see here. Let me get to there you go. Let's play. I want to play a little bit of this.
Yeah, this is that guy was with the veterans booth.
A lot of kids here. I don't want to film kids, man.
Were you alone?
Yes, up until Michael Garza showed up at one point as well. And I was trying so hard not to film children, but it was impossible because there were so many kids there. So many kids.
Energy Trust of Oregon. All homes deserve comfort.
It'll stretch into that little mini bag. It'll stretch down.
Oregon Department of Human Services. Got a bunch of stuff there.
And when I first got there, I just kind of walked by to see what every booth
There's a
was.
whole bunch of booths over here. There's like I don't know what booth this is. Oh, this is the Why I Vote Blue. This Coos County Democrat, I think. That's Coos County Democrats.
Of course.
Oregon State University, Military Connected Community, Veteran Family. There's a Veteran Village, Dollar Welcome. Hey Rocky, how you doing, man? Good. I just got back from vacation, so that's why I wasn't here for a while. I went to Disneyland and SeaWorld, Knott's Farm, and went and spent some time with my mother-in-law at her place for her birthday and 4th of July and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was good to get away from the farm for a while and spend some time with some family and have a vacation. I hadn't left the farm in 3 years, so I needed a break. But yeah, hey, good to see you here, man.
He's one of the Democrat organizer de-escalator people too.
Hey, how are you? Yeah. I did not. No, I tried, but that was like August of 2001. I went through MEPS and everything, and they went to send me out, but then my criminal record came back, and I had already had a couple weed charges.
What branch of the military
I missed out
was
on
that?
9/11, so I didn't. Did I really miss out?
He was just kind of like the Oregon State. He was with the Oregon State like veterans program or something like that, and here he's just kind of asking me if I served or if any of my family served, and I kind of just give him the rundown about like my grandparents and stuff like that, and but then he gives me this little magnet to put on the board. I don't know what it was for, but I just did it, and then I just kind of walked away. They had food there that they were giving out. I didn't take anything from any of the booths. Like they offered me water. I said no. They offered me food. I said no. Like I wasn't, I did not want to partake in any of their stuff.
No, I get it. It's, you're trying to be neutral. You're filming. I totally get that. I'm going to forward this to the spot just before you get into the run-in with that first couple of guys.
That tweaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Michael Garza that was with me. That redheaded guy is. That's a friend of mine that showed up down there. And then immediately that's when Garza showed up, and that guy came up to me saying that I was filming children, which I absolutely wasn't, but he just wanted to, and he asked us to go to the parking lot. Garza got a little worked up. I wanted to fuck with the guy a little bit, but I just thought it was best to just kind of part ways instead of getting into an actual fight,
Oh, totally get it. So this, the organization there, it says HIV Alliance. That is the Ryan White. That's from the Ryan White money that comes from the federal government, goes to the HIV Alliance. And I remember that going all the way back to the 90s when Ryan White was still alive. I don't know if you know the story of Ryan White, do you?
I don't.
He was a young, just a kid, I forget, like 6th, 7th grade, and he contracted AIDS, HIV through, he was a hemophiliac, I believe, and he got blood transfusions, and he contracted AIDS through the blood transfusion. And of course, at that point in time, people thought it was a gay disease. That's what it was known as, is that if you have it, you're probably queer. And so,
which, for a lot of families in our community, that's unattainable or unaffordable.
Unaffordable.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to play this right here. This will go in.
Cookies. South Coast Health Equity Coalition.
The one thing that videotaping kids. I'm not videotaping kids. I seen you just videotaping like 3 little kids.
I was videotaping the booth.
Get the hell away from me. The hell is that all about?
Why are you coming
you're
up
just
to
being
me?
a bitch.
Yeah,
He's actually.
I kind of noticed. I'm live streaming the.
Over here. You with them? No, you look at little kids. You look at little kids. You're a pedo.
You want to go out the parking lot? We'll figure it out.
Hey, tweaker, get the fuck away from me.
You want to come over here?
Tweaker.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're gonna go this way.
Little kids.
We're going this way.
You're a goddamn tweaker. Shut up, pedophile. Fuck, meth head and pedophile.
Okay. Interesting.
Hey, babe.
I didn't think anything was like that was gonna happen today.
Yeah, he's a freak.
We got
there's a bunch of meth heads. You fucking crazy. The guy was a meth head. No, I don't like it.
I actually famously do not film children.
Yeah,
I was glad that he knew what one was,
Right. Yeah,
And
there's kids that show up to the protests at the boardwalk, and I'm known, like all the Democrat organizers know that I turn my camera around or I cover my camera when children pass by. Like that woman that I'm talking to right there, that's Kim. She's one of the Democrat organizers too. She's married to Greg, and they know that I don't film children. I purposely avoid filming children. And which is something that they say they respect about me. So and then for some random weirdo to come up to me and say, oh, you're filming kids, it's like, well, I'm sorry. I mean, it's kind of unavoidable, but no, I wasn't deliberately trying to film kids. I was trying to film what the booths were.
Which, okay, so, and people need to understand, these are the same people who are protecting a known sex molester who works for the college. They're protecting Sal Carruthers, who is another registered sex offender. They were not only protecting, they were literally taking.
Came kind of political too, by like going down. I went down to one of the boardwalk protests and got assaulted by a bunch of people, and so I kept going. And I went to 20. Ended up going to 25 of them. My wife's been 25 different protests down on the boardwalk, and yeah, that's why I got shadows following me around.
Oh.
Yeah, they follow me around that because they say I'm an instigator or antagonizer or whatever, but it's just because I think differently than them.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So you're on the one side.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, but this isn't a political event. This is yeah. Right. Right.
Spreading love, encouragement, support.
Right.
I am the walk chair for the suicide prevention walk.
That's cool.
So I'm here just supporting and
Yeah.
giving out resources to let people know how to live.
Right on. Yeah, I just walk around and film stuff, and that's about it.
For the good or the bad?
Neutral. Neutral.
Okay.
Yep.
I
No.
was like, our kids go to school together.
Yeah, I don't share. Like, oh, this is. I mean, Rocky knows me. He knows me. I'm not a problem, am I, Rocky? No. See.
No, our kids go to school together, so I was like, oh.
Your Dealey Bob fell down.
Unfortunately, I can't run very fast.
That's okay. That's all right. All right. Well, we'll see ya.
You're not recording. Now they are.
In
I'm
the
not.
group of three right there that I'm passing, there's some elected official. So he said, I don't want to be filmed. I said, you're not.
Oh, he freaked out.
Then here comes her husband or something.
You had recorded the three of us, lady in the gray hat. She's
No.
a public official. She wants that erased. Anything on check your recording. She wants everything erased that she's in there. You're recording that. She wants it
It's
erased.
live stream.
She has the right to refuse to be recorded. She's a public figure.
Oh, tell her to get the cops if you have a problem with it. I'll be walking around.
Okay,
Tell her to
so
get the cops
the
if you've
guy,
got a problem with it.
the guy is wrong. He's 100% wrong, and he was so wrong that this is how I would have handled it. And I'm much more of an asshole than you are. And I've done this before. Oh, really? Your wife doesn't want to be filmed, and you think I don't have the right to do it? You follow me right over to your wife as I interview her about that. Excuse me, miss. Excuse me, your dumbass husband right here doesn't know the law, and I just wanted to explain it to you since you're a local elected official. And that's exactly the way I would have handled it. But call the cops, please do. I've had cops called on me several times, and usually this is how it ends up. The cop will come up and he goes, you know, they really want you to move. And I'll go, and you know, you can't make me move. Yeah, I know. But would you stand over there? No, I'm not going to stand over there. Okay, Mr. Taylor, have a nice day. And I've had that conversation at least 3 or 4 times with police officers.
Yeah, I knew that if it ended up happening, that's how it would pan out. But I stood there because I seen her messing on her phone like she was actually going to call the cops, or she was at least telling somebody about what was going on. But then she like took a picture of me, so I like posed for her. Like I like it when people take my picture because I'll pose, you know, so they don't have a serious looking photo.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get. In fact, it happened at the fair. Mo Aker, we had given him some petition sheets to the Democrats to sign during the day. And later that night, I went to go get our petition sheets. They had gotten signatures, I thought. And Mo Aker, who always introduces herself to me, I walk into the booth. She goes, "Oh, Rob, hi, I'm Mo Aker." And I go, "Mo, I know who you are. I've only known you for 15 years, lady. I don't know why you always introduce yourself." And she goes, "Well, what are you here for? What do you want?" And I go, "Well, I want my petition sheets. I wanted my signature." She goes, "Well, there's no petition here." And I explained it to her. No, you're wrong. You're confused. And the other lady who was sitting there, and I didn't know it was Mo's daughter. I've seen her before. She goes, "Hey, and who are you?" And I shook her hand. I said, "I'm Rob Taylor." Okay. I walked back to the Republican booth. Her daughter comes back around, gets in front of the booth, and starts lecturing me that I will never be allowed to talk to her mother again. And she's doing this number, and you won't talk to my mother. You've yelled at her before and you've been rude. And I go, "I wasn't rude." She goes, "Not this time." She goes, "You've been rude to her before." And I go, "I have no idea what you're talking about, but I will say whatever I want to say to whoever I want to say it, whenever I want to say." And she goes, "Fine then." She starts lecturing me, and I pull out my camera and I started filming her, and she immediately turns around as soon as I pull out the phone and leaves. I followed her all the way around back to the booth to where Mo was. And I go, "Mo, why is your daughter harassing me? She's saying that I yelled at you. Do you remember me yelling at you?" She goes, "I don't know what she's talking about. I don't." And it was funny. This was at the fair, and I erased the video. I don't care. It was stupid, but that's the kind of shit they pull.
One really funny thing is that happened at the event. They have people follow me everywhere I go for the most part. At first it was Greg, and I just told Greg, I was like, "Greg, dude, I was like, I'm not here to cause any problems. Like, I'm gonna go over there and smoke a cigarette, and then I'm gonna come back, and I don't want anybody following me. I don't need anybody to follow me. I'm not gonna be a problem. You know, I can stay calm." And he's like, "Okay," and he agreed. And so there was a long period of time where nobody was following me. Then those those religious protesters showed up with their signs and stuff. And I went over and talked to them and thanked them for coming down, kind of told them who I was, whatever. And immediately after that, I had this dude that was following. He was and not saying anything. And I just walked, I'd walk 5 feet and I'd turn around and he'd stand there sideways with his arm crossed, and I'd walk some more and so I turned the camera around so I could see him following me behind me. And I was like, "Are you going to follow me?" He wouldn't say nothing. I was like, "You don't need to. I'm not a problem." And are starting to get down towards the end where the food is. There's the porta potty, nothing really beyond that. And I was like, "Okay, man, fine. I'm going to dog walk you back. Come on, follow me." And he follows me back, and I find Serena, one of the Democrat protest organizers, who's wearing the purple vest, just like they were all wearing purple vests, like the people that were there, right? And I was like, "Hey, tell this guy to leave me alone. Tell him to quit following me. Tell him I'm not a problem. He's really being annoying, and he won't tell me his name and she's like, "Oh, I not Dennis or Denny's or whatever his name was. I can't speak for him." I'm like, "Ah, that's his name. He wouldn't tell me when I asked him." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." And then I walked down to Greg, and I was like, "Greg, tell this weirdo to quit following me." And I just basically told on him like I was a 5-year-old, telling to his teacher, "You tell this guy to leave me alone. He's really annoying me, and I just want to be left alone." And then they talked to him and he left me alone. But it was funny because I felt like I was getting him in trouble with everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. So tell me more about these religious people. Why were they there? They came all the way over from Roseburg, right?
Yeah, Roseburg and Grants Pass, as far as I have read. I didn't go to their website, and I don't have one of their business cards on me at the moment. I left my wallet inside,
Okay.
but they they go to all sorts of different events, apparently all over Oregon. And they're called the RV Salt Shakers. But they, preach the gospel and things like that. And there was a couple of them that I talked to for kind of an extended period of time, let them preach a little bit onto the platform, onto the video or whatever. And then, but yeah, but they were getting drowned out. They're like the Democrats were, or not the Democrats, the gays, well, the Democrats, the gay Democrats, whatever, whoever it was, the organizers, they had like big signs, like banners that they were putting in front of these people so nobody would see them as they walked down the sidewalk. And they had a whole like line of people in purple vests, like making sure that the people walking down the sidewalk didn't have to hear them. They even had like one guy wearing this, like, it said human, but it was like rainbow colored on his shirt. There, he'd meet everybody at each end of the sidewalk, and he'd be like, "Okay, keep your head down. Don't look at them. Don't listen to them. Just kind of, if you want to stop at one of the booths, you can, but just kind of walk by." And he'd walk them back. And so they had people just walking, like as if these people couldn't walk down the sidewalk and ignore somebody on their own. They had to have a babysitter just to walk past some
That's
people
weird.
that believe in God.
They sound like
You know?
vampires. We can't see the cross. We can't see the Christians. We might burn in flames.
Yeah, and then there was one guy while I was standing over there. He comes up and he's like, "Oh, you're Sky Daddy, and like mockingly, and then he just walks away, and I just kind of blew him off. They just sounded like lunatics. So
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know those guys or anything like that, but I mean, they seemed nice enough, and I'm a Christian. As a Christian, I can appreciate somebody going and spreading the gospel.
Oh, look, Sally Boy, he says, I like making hit lists for people I don't like, especially when I'm hanging out in my mom's basement. Yeah. You keep up the good work, Sally Boy. We really like your stuff. So were they, you said that they were drowning him out. Were they saying anything? Were they chanting anything themselves?
Yeah. So they had, I can't remember. I think it was Serena, one of the Democrat organizers. She was like singing, like Disney songs, like really, really loud, and just, and whichever preacher person like was speaking the loudest, she'd kind of get close to them and start just singing over them. And I mean, it was like high enough pitch, like when she was singing, that it really did drown out the people just kind of talking, preaching like loudly, but I mean, the low voices, the higher voice drowned out the lower voices, so you couldn't really actually hear them very well when you were walking by them when she was singing.
I have no problem. I support their right to be there. They have just as much right to be there as the Head Start organization, that's for sure. But what do they get out of it? Because I just don't see people wearing a rainbow shirt with their unicorn hat going, "Oh my gosh, you're right. I believe. Hallelujah. I've been changed." You know what I mean? It's just, I don't get it. What do they, to me, it seems like they're just creating enemies for their religion instead of being some seen as people who are understanding and want to reach out. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, and so even if I think I mean, the Bible kind of says that you're supposed to go and kind of tell people about the gospel, for one, but for two, yes, I see that aspect of it. Yeah, making people turn away from religion more, because they'll be like, "Oh, this group is being hateful towards me at this event that I previously thought I was going to be comfortable at." But
Right.
then there are other people that aren't completely, off their rockers, that will go up and try and have a debate, with these preachers. And maybe they'll hear a verse or something that they had never considered, and maybe that will stick with them. It's like, I don't remember what verse it is, but it's like planting a mustard seed and letting it grow. And so maybe even if it does only touch one person, even if it does drown out 100, if you can draw that one, not to sound preachy, but draw that one sheep, back to the
Right.
shepherd. Like,
Maybe. I don't know.
that's
I don't
my
know.
thoughts on
I
it.
would I wish, yeah, if you get that card, you got some information, I might give them an email and ask them to come on and explain what their tactics are. It's I'll have the Mormons every now and then. Is it the Mormons or is it the Seventh Day Adventist? Who are the young guys in the white shirts who come knocking
That's
on the door?
Mormons.
Yeah,
The
they're
Mormons.
very nice young men, and I like talking to them. They're really really seem genuine people, but to me I just don't see people. I'm a door-to-door salesman for the Lord. Hallelujah.
Right.
So,
The same way with Jehovah's Witnesses too. They're the
Yeah.
same way.
yeah, Jane Brown said, "Rob, demons hate the name of Jesus." Well, they're going to really hate me because I'll whip out my Jesus action figure. There you go. Don't mess with me. We'll be partying the waters at Mingus Park. That's what we'll be doing. But no, seriously, that's I don't know. I find it interesting. Sam says Matthew 2017, I believe. And so, yeah, maybe it does work. I don't know, but I would like to talk to him because it's just something. I don't see Muslims doing that. Muslims don't come door to door and go, "Hey, you want to follow Allah? Well, what's Allah into? Well, he marries children. He likes to behead people. You know what I mean?"
Right.
Oh, well, hell, sign me up.
Right. Well, I mean, your choices if Islam takes over are you become a Muslim. If you don't want to do that, you have to pay a tax to stay a non-Muslim. And if you don't want to pay the tax, they kill you.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't sound like any religion I'd want to be part of.
No, that is a tithing that comes with a lot of restrictions. That's something you better not miss. When that collection plate is coming around, you better throw your money in because you might not get a hand back. TJ, I want to thank you for coming on. Your channel, what is it and where can people reach you?
It is youtube.com, Stocks Family Farm, all one word, STOCKS, like stocks and bonds, and then Family Farm. Like I said, it's about my family and my farm initially, but if you go into my live streams, you can see all the boardwalk protests, and then I do have some videos and clips of that as well. So, but and then I'm Stocks Fam Farm on X. And that's it. That's all I have for social media.
Very good. What's your next thing? When are you going out next? Do you know?
Probably I was thinking about going down to the next boardwalk protest, which is in 2 weeks. So, because I haven't been down to one, I didn't go to a single one in July because I started out the month on vacation. So I didn't get to any of them, and then so I'll be starting back up the second
are they
Saturday
getting any
or third
bigger?
Saturday.
Are they getting smaller? How are they going?
So it really has depended on what's going on in the news. Like if it's something big going on in the news, something new, like when there was Maduro, they had a few extra people out there protesting that, but when it's just general Trump hate, they get maybe 20 people, and it's all the regulars. It's not anybody that's
Right.
new. When they have like an organized like one that's going to be like when they have them all over the country and they're all protesting on the same day, like No Kings, for example. That's when they'll bring in the people from Myrtle Point, Coquille, and bring them up from Bandon and stuff like that, and get them all to hold all the signs that they just pull out of their box.
Right. We need to find that connection. We need to get those buses and license plates and stuff, and find out where they're meeting. That would be interesting. Just not to dox them or anything, but to show people that this is organized, that it's not a grassroots, spontaneous. Oh, hey, let's get together. No, that's not happening.
Right. I think they're probably organizing online with a lot of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, TJ, I want to thank you very much. We'll see you next time, okay?
All right. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. You take care. And that was TJ Stocks. I highly recommend if you get the chance. And let me see if I can add this to the screen. So here is, let me see if I can shrink this and get his page. There you go. There's his page. And as you can see, it's Stocks Family Farm. Let me see if I can hit that. There we go. All right. And so you can see all of that right there. Stocks Family Farm. So if you can share that and share this program, because I thought that was pretty interesting. That was some interesting stuff. And people might ask why document this stuff? And I'll tell you exactly why, because this is more than just a social event. This is more than just gay people in the park. These are people, as you can see, are in politics. They are in non-governmental organizations who are influencing policy. Hell, they had Head Start there. They had the lady from Head Start. So if you don't think that there is something coordinated going on between these, just gay people in the park and the indoctrination of your children, well, then you're asleep. You're seriously asleep. And that's... What can I tell you? It's not going to work for us, folks. It's not going to work for us at all, because eventually those kids are going to be so screwed up, then so confused and angry that we're going to have a seriously messed up world. And unfortunately, that seems to be where we're headed. One of the things that I want to throw up here, let me see. Oh, shoot, I closed the window. There's a couple in Oregon who has been having problems with their adopted, their daughter. Their daughter has been taken away from them because they're Christians. So anyone who thinks, no wonder Christians were at the park and angry, because there are liberals in the government who are now taking away Christian children from their Christian families. And let me see if I can get that. Let's see. Well, I had it up on there. I don't know why it does that. It's very disturbing when it does. There we go. Add to stage, and there we go. Hallelujah. And this was on the Daily Signal. And let me see if I can get rid of that. Let's see. It says, it has destroyed our lives. Christian parents sue over accusation they cause mental injury for refusing to affirm daughter's transgender identity. Yeah, that's like a kid saying, I was mentally injured because my parents didn't allow me to live in their basement until I was 26, rent free. Sorry, Sal, that was aimed at you. But here it is. Here's the young couple, and this was just posted July 30th. Let me read you some of the story out here. A Christian mom and her husband. Let me make sure I'm still sharing it. Yeah, okay, I'm cool. I'm still sharing it. A Christian mom and her husband are fighting back in court after Oregon's Department of Human Services determined that they caused mental injury to her daughter by refusing to affirm her transgender identity, which I can understand that. My son comes home and he says, "Hey, Dad, look, I'm a killer whale, or I'm a unicorn, or I want to be a dog." Well, no, son, you're not. You're a kid, and I'd have to smack him upside his head and straighten him out. No, but when your son comes home and tells you he wants to be a daughter, you need to do something about it. And the first thing you don't do is cut off his penis, put some boobs on him, and change his name to Jane. Okay, that's what the first thing you don't do. But this is what these people did. It said, this is the woman, the mother. She says, "It has destroyed our lives." Nicole Calloway, the mother of the two daughters who are now estranged because they both claim a transgender identity, told the Daily Signal in an interview Sunday. Child Protective Services took custody of her then 15-year-old daughter, K.A., on July 18, 2024, 2 years ago, one day after Calloway and K.A. terminated the services of K.A.'s therapist, Jennifer Forrester. According to the court documents, Forrester filed a complaint that resulted in K.A.'s removal, because that's who you want, is some shrink having control over you and your family's lives. But the ODHS notified the Callaways, that the agency considered them responsible for the mental injury of KA. Your adverse reactions to KA expressing their gender identity have caused serious harm to KA's psychological functioning, ODHS caseworker Rachel Woods wrote in a September 13th letter. And I can tell you right now, Rachel Woods, if she works for ODHS, probably has more skeletons in her closet than the local cemetery. You know what I'm saying? So these people, they have a lot of nerve to take away this Christian family's daughter. I cannot believe that this is going on in our country. Talk about fascism. And then people wonder why Christians might show up to a gay pride parade where they're pushing this ideology on our kids who aren't even old enough to go to kindergarten, because you got Head Start there pushing this crap on our kids. And then you have the Oregon Child Protective Services going after parents who are Christian. I'm so ticked off. I don't know what to say. Callaway's older daughter had already moved out. It says, I was so distraught, I felt like I was gutted, the mother said. Both my daughters were gone. I took myself to the hospital and admitted myself for a week because I couldn't handle it. The mother remains estranged from her daughters, and Oregon has ordered her not to contact KA, yet the state's findings haven't just affected her maternal relationships. A black mark on the parents' record. So not only, and you're going to love this because I'm going to continue reading, are they going after this destroying this poor woman's family life? Yeah, she's going to be punished even further. But it says the mental injury finding constitutes a child abuse ruling on Callaway's permanent record and on the record of her husband, David. The stigma of a state agency finding the two guilty of child abuse has followed them across state lines after their move to Florida in July of 2025. In Oregon, if they were to do a background check, I could have lost my notary license. I still cannot even here volunteer with the church, anything to do with children, the mother told the Daily Signal. All because she didn't want her daughter to turn into, well, a he-she. That's all she was trying to do. Her daughter was suffering from body dysphoria. She wanted to help her child through counseling, through her Christian beliefs, but no, instead, she got railroaded by Oregon's Children's Services. The stigma may have even been worse for her husband. Months after the two moved to Florida, the Oregon Department of Human Services determined that David Callaway had exhibited a pattern of inappropriate grooming behaviors, to include making inappropriate sexual comments while KA was in his care. The husband vehemently contested the claim, saying he is innocent and was not given an opportunity to appeal, while the office made the determination in December 2025. He did not receive notification of it until May 12th. Yeah, very good. That's our government. The husband told the Daily Signal that his employment has yet to be affected by the matter, but he highlighted this message from the notice. This abuse finding could have an impact on David Callaway's ability to volunteer or to obtain or retain a professional license or certain types of employment. So see that, folks? Are you a Christian? Because they really do seem to hate you. And if you want to keep your children from being sexually mutilated before the age of 18, you might be labeled as a bad parent. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? Yeah, let's see. I got a couple of comments I want to get to here. Sally Boy, I don't know why I'm doing this, but he says, my future partner Garza is number one on my list. Yeah. Lane says, LDS missionaries wear the white shirts and name tags. Oh, that goes back to our earlier conversations. Yes, they do. They do. All right. Their numbers for these protests are all made up. I don't know about that. They rent the buses and usually the drivers. Yeah, that's true. I need to go a little bit further. I need to find the comments about the story I was telling. These Things need to be documented. Otherwise, we are going to repeat the past. And yep, that's why I do this stuff, Doug. That's exactly why I do this stuff. It's more for documentation. It's more for posterity than it is for anything else, because believe me, I have much better things to do on this beautiful sunny day than sit here and talk about this nonsense, because it is nonsense, but yet it's not nonsense because it actually affects our lives. Steve Nye says, I would be more ignited if my kids were in school now. I challenge current parents to be on the school boards. Let's see. My grandsons think they are dragons, dogs, Spider-Man, Ninja Turtles, etc. We let them pretend for a bit and we move on. Affirming these identities is harmful. Yes, I've got a 4-year-old granddaughter. She thinks she's a princess. She thinks she's a Disneyland princess, because every other movie comes out. I think it's Frozen. And I can hear the song in my head, the Frozen song. She just sings it over and over. And she thinks she's a little princess. And every now and then Pop has to remind her, no, honey, you're not a princess. You're just a little girl here in Bandon. But yeah, that's the way it goes. And of course, Jane says, guilty without a trial. It does not require criminal prosecution. No, that's the administrative law state, the deep state, controlling your lives by creating a permanent record that will affect you in your future without ever taking you to court, without ever having to get a warrant, go to court, prove you are guilty. No, you are guilty before you can prove yourself innocent. This is crazy. Peggy says, I would never want to be a new parent in this current world. You literally lose your parental rights if you don't follow the propaganda or the program. Sick Nazi world. And Peggy, yes, it is a sick Nazi world. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that's even sicker than all of that. I'm going to share this tab for you. Yeah, so all of these complaints are coming from the same agency that has one of these lousy records, such a lousy record that they have faced several lawsuits. They even got a website dedicated to helping kids. This is Justice for Kids, fighting the abused, disabled, and injured kids. This is from the Cronenberg Attorney at Law Agency. Let's see. Oregon's child welfare system is in a crisis. For years, foster children in the custody of the Oregon Department of Human Services, that same agency that just maligned and destroyed the reputation of that family. Well, listen to this. They have been physically, sexually, and emotionally abused inside a system that was supposed to protect them. Oregon's child welfare agency has spent nearly a decade under intense legal scrutiny following class action lawsuits filed on behalf of foster children who were placed in dangerous and unstable environments. Of course, because they want to mutilate children. They want to sexually mutilate children while simultaneously politicizing them and indoctrinating them into extreme leftist communist policies. That's what they're doing to your children. And if you don't believe me, well, look at some of the lawsuits that have gone on with ODHS. That's the Oregon Department of Human Services. Let's see. Despite years of public promises, reform plans, and federal oversight, Oregon continues to face heartbreaking failures. Children are forced to sleep in hotels, offices, and state buildings. Youth are placed in and out of state facilities where they have suffered abuse, restraint, and neglect. Children in ODHS custody are exposed to sexual assault, unnecessary institutionalization, and the absence of even the most basic safety checks. That's right. The same organization that's being sued has several class action lawsuits against it. Some have already been settled out of court. Some are still going on to this day. This agency has lost children. How do you freaking lose children and somehow still think you have the moral high road to judge parents because they want to impose their Christian values on their children and raise them properly? How do you do that? Well, Oregon Department of Human Services does it. It doesn't sound much like a human service to me, if you ask me, but across Oregon, Portland, Salem, Eugene, Bend, Medford, Beaverton, Hillsboro, Grisham, Springfield, and Corvallis. Foster children and their families feel the weight of these failures every day. These children are not case numbers. They are sons, daughters, siblings, students, neighbors, and clients of attorneys representing them whose lives have been shaped by the negligence of a system that did not keep them safe. Many children live with relatives, foster parents, group homes, and residential treatment centers that were supposed to protect them. Yeah, but Justice for Kids, a division of Kelly Cronenberg, is one of the few law practices in the country focused on representing children harmed by government systems, including foster care, child protection agencies, residential treatment facilities, schools, and other institutions responsible for children's safety. Our attorneys know child welfare systems because we limit our work to children who are in child welfare and disability systems. And I can tell you what, I will be contacting this law firm because I want to talk to them about some of the things that are going on. But here we have it. We have people who have had their lives destroyed, their families separated by this agency, children indoctrinated, not only indoctrinated, but stolen away from their parents and put into harm's way by the very agency that was supposed to protect them. If you're not angry, then you must not have a pulse, folks. I don't know what to tell you. And let's see, I got a few more comments here. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Sally Boy says, my other identity is watching your show right now. Several of them are. In fact, I don't think there's an actual single person here. I think it's just Sal Boy and 19 of his aliases. That's all who's watching my show, and my two parents. But then again, are they really my parents, or is it just Sally Boy in his mom's basement? I don't know. Jeff Petit says, you mean the felon sex offender that apparently has firearms? Yeah, I like to see that. He may have firearms. I doubt he knows how to use them. Could you see Sally Boy with a firearm? We know where his trigger finger has been. Hell, his dog knows where his trigger finger has been. Ew, gross. Don't smell that gun. Let's see. Peggy Rents. I worked for LA County Child Services in the early 2000s. I know what they do behind the scenes, and the fraud by social workers is sickening. Let's not forget Gabriel Fernandez. Don't know the name, but I can tell you what, I've watched, I don't know, in the last year, 2 years, so many stories on YouTube about Oregon's foster system. And I'll tell you what, going back all the way to the mid 90s when I was on public television fighting the war on drugs and some of the extreme laws that they had against people who were just addicts, and especially the war against marijuana. When we were working on that, we would always report on Oregon Child Protective Services taking people away from potheads. And it was like, why would you take your agency is responsible for the disappearance of several children, and yet you're taking it away from potheads? Potheads are the least of your worries. I don't know. Just my opinion. I mean, people will do things they probably shouldn't do, but there's not always a legitimate reason to take kids just because you don't like people's politics. And that's how much politics has swung from one extreme to the other. Now they don't take the kids because they smoke pot. Hell, they probably would take your kids if you didn't give them pot. I don't know. That's how screwed up Oregon is today. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Paul Lyle says, nope, I'm real. That's nice. I don't know if that's one of Sal's things. I don't know. Peggy says, I'm real. Jeff is my neighbor. He knows Raj and I. Okay. And Jane Brown says, Rob, I have so many horror stories of adult survivors of CPS. And that's the other thing, is that we have these people who they're just children. And at the age of 18, they age out of foster care. And it's like, here you go. Here's the door. You got the door. Here you go. Have fun with that. As a parent, I used to always joke about that. As soon as my kid's 18, I'm kicking him out on his ass. That wasn't going to happen. I mean, sure, I threatened it. I joke about it, but you don't want to just throw your kid out in the streets. No, not unless they're being real jerks. Mine wasn't. Mine was a good kid. So you want to help them out. And of course, that's the thing with life. And you wait until they're able to go and get a job where they get enough money where they can get an apartment. And of course, they're going to have 2 or 3 roommates. Maybe they'll have to move in with a girlfriend or something because it's hard to afford those things. That's just life moving on. But with the foster care system, it literally is, here's the door, kid, have a nice life. And I think we really need to do something with that, because I have seen people who are 18, 19, 20, and in their mid-20s who are on the streets. They're living on the streets now. And you ask them, well, how did you get on the streets? Well, I was a foster kid. And, well, this is all I had to turn to once I aged out. And I've heard that story a couple of times from young people on the street. Very sad, very depressing. Steve Nye says, non-sanctuary county is an interesting topic. You mean for non-sanctuary for what? Immigration? Yeah, that would be interesting. It won't happen unless we actually do an ordinance ourselves. And I'm going to talk about an ordinance that I'm going to be working on. Sally Boy says, I'm real too. I love hiding in my mom's basement. Yeah. Yeah. You really have hit a high in your life when you have to go and live with your mom in your mom's basement in their house in Portland after registering again as a sex offender. Boy, that's wow, Sally Boy, you're something. What was I going to talk about? Yes. Let's see if I can share this tab instead. And I've got a web page. Right now, if you go to my web page, you can sign up for the newsletter. You see that contact right there? Yeah, you can sign up for the newsletter. It's pretty cool. I send it out irregularly, maybe once a month, twice a month. Just whenever I get in the mood, I'll send out the newsletter. So, if you want a newsletter to hear some of the things that are going on, I usually send it out when there's something real important going to happen. That's about the only times. I don't want to bother you people. You got lives, right? So yeah, but sign up for the newsletter and I'll get in touch with you. But this is Rob Taylor Report. This is my website. And by the way, if you go to my website, you see this right there. You can just click that and watch there. Right, go to my website. You see this right there. You can just click that and watch. Yeah. There, yeah. You can see me live right there on my website. Here's the Rob blog, and I want you to check this out. This is an article that I posted today about an ordinance that I'm going to be doing. Let's see if I can get to that. Okay, there we go. And here's the little thumbnail that I had to create. Isn't AI great? You can create these thumbnails. It'd take me forever to do this. Our county, our freedom, our choice. Freedom from invasive surveillance ordinance. That's what I'm going to call this. Freedom from invasive surveillance ordinance. And the reason I'm using invasive is because that's what these leftists believe humans are. They believe we are the invasive species on the planet. It's not true. We're just as much part of the planet as any other creature. But here in Coos County, we want to stop invasive surveillance. So if you go to my website, I got an article on here talking about Port Orford said no to the flock cameras. And the gentleman, the city councilor who put forward the ordinance called me up and said, look, I got a couple of Republicans. Could you, contact them and let them know that there are some conservatives who are against this? And there are a lot of libertarians, a lot of real conservatives out there who don't want the government monitoring every little trip that I make in my life. It's none of your damn business, Uncle Sam. So go screw off. Okay. And so I sent a letter to all of the counselors, and I I guess several people showed up testifying against the flock cameras. And so Port Orford unanimously passed an ordinance, or not an ordinance, a resolution prohibiting this. And I'm going to be pushing this here. Let's see. Jane Brown says, I know 3 women who were raped while in foster care, and a man that has kidney damage from being a pharma guinea pig. Yeah, I can believe that. Sorry, that goes back to the pharma story. And Paul Lyle, flock cameras. What's your opinion? Yeah, well, I'm telling you my opinion. We need to get rid of them. We need to get the flock out of here. And so that's what my article talks about. And it goes over some of the things that what flock cameras actually do. And then it will talk about the continuous unwarranted surveillance violates our constitutional framework. I talk about how Jefferson, Madison, could you imagine Jefferson and Madison sitting around saying, hey, you know, King George's got these flock cameras up there, and they can tell anytime we get on the pony and we ride somewhere, you know, old George, he knows where we're going. He knows how fast we got there too. Yep, he got a picture of our face, got a picture of our horse's ass. And yeah, that's we want King George to have that. No, they wouldn't be having that conversation. They'd be saying, let's have a revolution. Let's kick this guy's butt and stop having them take our money to basically watch us all the time. And that's what they're doing. And I was going to have the city of North Bend's chief of police at a work session. He came out to tell everyone that, oh, no, don't worry, flock cameras are safe, man. They're really cool, man. Don't worry, because we destroy all that information. It don't go nowhere, and anyone who gets on there will be identified. And yeah, this is the guy who's going to be operating this equipment, telling you, oh no, the equipment's safe. The equipment's safe. It's, yeah, right. Do you trust the person who is operating the equipment to also be the one who's the arbitrator over whether the equipment is good or not? I don't think so. I think we should decide. And Jane Brown's right. She says, deflock Oregon. Well, we're going to deflock Coos County to start with. That's the first thing we're going to do. And so if you go to my website and you go to my blog page, it's the Rob blog. I talk about this and how it's unconstitutional. But here's what really ticks me off when I talk to conservatives. Go, oh, Rob, you sound like a pot smoking, tree hugging, daisy spitting liberal, man. What are you, a commie? And I go, no. I'm not a commie. I'm someone who believes in individual liberty and limited government as a conservative. So therefore, I don't think I should be paying to have myself spied on. And that's what these do. And here's one of the first things I remember back as a child. And I shouldn't say a child. I was probably 18, 19 when this happened. I was a little bit older than that. I was in my 22, 89. Yeah, I was 24 actually. Okay. So I was a little bit older, but this is Nicholas Ceausescu's picture right here, right there on the right. That's his wife there. There's all his buddies. Now, Nicholas Ceausescu, he was in Romania, and he built one of the most comprehensive surveillance states to ever exist up to that point in time. In fact, when they went in, the rebels went into the headquarters, American reporters were aghast at all of the surveillance and all the cameras and the monitors that this guy had watching people. We were just disgusted by that here in America. I mean, I was, as a young man, I said, hey man, screw government, F government, man. I don't want these commies watching me. I don't want these fascists watching me. And of course, here's Ceausescu, and he's a communist. This is him. He was giving a speech for the Communist Party of Bucharest. That's right. Not a fascist. No, not a Trump supporter, not a MAGA, a communist. And he created one of the worst situations, authoritarian situations on earth in his own little country. Well, here's what Oregon cities can do. First off, many of them already have. Eugene terminated its flock contract in December of 2025. with the police department, citing vulnerabilities and limitations in the system. City manager Sarah Medary said the decision ultimately came down to trust. Which, do you trust the government? Did you watch the Fauci hearings? I have to plead the fifth. I have to plead the fifth again. What is my mother's name? I don't know. I have to plead the fifth. Do you trust government after watching Fauci? No, I don't either. Springfield ended its cameras alongside Eugene because why? Because they're unreliable. They have vulnerabilities and limitations. Yeah, they can spy on you nonstop. Woodburn, another city up north, suspended its cameras after residents confirmed immigration enforcement agencies had accessed local camera data dozens of times. And once again, I don't care who they're spying on. I don't want to pay to have these cameras spy on people. Bend cut ties with Flock in January 2026. So, this is happening all over the country. And there are other risks to it. Emission creep is not hypothetical. Once the infrastructure exists, data can be accessed by multiple agencies and has been shared beyond local law enforcement in other jurisdictions. This has already been proven. The chilling effect on liberty, because when people know they're being spied on, they don't act the same way. Then you got the data scrutiny and corporate involvement, which creates serious exposures for anyone whose data is out there. And of course, taxpayer protection matters. Avoiding vendor contracts and reoccurring subscription costs keeps governments lean and prevents entanglement with outside technology interest whose business model depends on expanding the network, not limiting it. And of course, that's every business that's in the business of spying on the people. Their business is going to expand if we give them our money. I also want to make a clarification here. This is very, very important. Port Orford passed a resolution. Resolutions are nice, but they don't mean a damn thing. They don't mean nothing. I mean, my Aunt Fanny makes a resolution every New Year's, and by May, she's already violated that resolution. So why do we make a resolution? Because they really don't want to put the law into effect. They want the people to think, oh, it was a feel-good thing. And they may actually, in all earnest, believe in what they're saying and doing, but it's just a resolution. However, what I want to do, and I want to do this in all 7 cities, is I want to pass an ordinance. And here's the difference between a resolution and an ordinance, is that a resolution doesn't really have the impact as a law. An ordinance is a local law. It commands specific conduct, prohibits specific action, and attaches real consequences to violations. An ordinance with a clear directive, and this one does have a clear directive, it shall be unlawful, and a punishment clause that specifies fines, civil liability, and potential removal from office gives citizens legal standing to enforce the prohibition. It gives courts something to apply. It gives officials something to fear. A future administration cannot simply ignore it or quietly shelve it without facing legal exposure. And this is why the Coos County cities and border commissioners must act by ordinance, not a resolution. And this is what we're going to push on them. And the Freedom from Invasive Surveillance Ordinance, FISO is what we're calling it. FFISO. The Coos County citizens are not waiting for permission, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't wait for permission. We should move forward anytime our rights are being threatened. Let me tell you what this ordinance does. And by the way, I compared this ordinance to the resolution in Port Orford, and it's much more stringent. It's much more definitive. And I compared this ordinance with the ACLU ordinance, and ours is much more of a powerful, impactful ordinance. It actually gives permanence where the ACLU one doesn't give that permanence. And I'm going to explain to you what our ordinance does, the Freedom from Invasive Surveillance Ordinance. It fully prohibits the acquisition, installation, and use of automated license plate readers by any county government agency or official, and that's a city if it's a city ordinance. It requires the removal of any existing devices within 30 days of adoption. That's right, North Bend will be coming for you. and you're going to have to get rid of those cameras if we're successful. It allows one narrow exception tied to the specific warrant issued by a judge for a specific suspect, preserving legitimate targeted law enforcement while ending dragnet surveillance, meaning we're not going to put out a big net out there and see if we can catch criminals. No, if we see actions of a criminal nature, that's when you go and investigate, officer. You just don't look at lawful people who are doing lawful things and try to decide if they're committing a crime or not. That's ridiculous. It also imposes financial penalties on officials who violate the ordinance, so the prohibition carries real consequences rather than good intentions. That's the real difference between an ordinance and a resolution. And this is the most important part. It requires 2/3 supermajority citizen referendum to ever amend or repeal it. This last provision is the most important. Surveillance programs tend to return under new names once public attention fades. This ordinance locks the door and hands the key to the voters. In the absence of a state or national constitutional amendment explicitly protecting the right to privacy, direct democracy is the most reliable mechanism available to ensure the principles that conservatives and liberals have both championed for generations are actually upheld. Do you hear that? Yes, conservatives and liberals, both of them in my lifetime, have always defended the Fourth Amendment. Why wouldn't we in this case? So what happens is up to you. This is all up to you. And this is where I'm going to need your help. I'm going to start with the city abandoned probably, and I'm going to start with the county. I haven't made a date of when I'm going to approach them, but I will be sending them this ordinance, and I will be sending out notice to all of you that this is going to be happening. And this is what I need you guys to do. I need you to contact them when we start making our demands for this ordinance. And they're gonna hem and haw. They're gonna say, "Oh no, we don't need any punishment. You can trust us. We're gonna cross our fingers, pinky promise. You can trust us." No, you can't trust them. You can't trust them, and that's why we need an ordinance that's so stringent. Let me see. Let me go to some comments here because it looks like I got a few. Jane Brown says, "Spying is illegal. Being a peeping Tom is illegal. Stalking people is illegal." Yeah, why is it if I was following a person wherever they went, say a lady leaves her house, and from her front door, I follow her down to the store, and then I follow her over to wherever she's getting her hair done, and I keep following her all day. Don't you think after a while that starts becoming stalking? I think so. So if they're doing it with cameras and it's happening continuously, well, then we're being stalked by our government. Gee, Uncle Sam, you're a pervert. Get your damn nose out of my business. Yeah. Let's see. Paul Lyle, if that's your real name, Paul. Flock cameras now, Minority Report next. And that's true. That's actually very true. And that's what's going to happen. If you don't know what Minority Report is, that's where they have a device where they can tell future crimes based on your thoughts. They are the thought police. And let me tell you, I've had all kinds of crazy thoughts that I've never acted on. I bet you Sal Carruthers has all kinds of wild, sick fantasies he's possibly never acted on. So you can't arrest people for what they think or what they might do. You can only arrest them for what they did and can prove it. That's the way the law works. Ezekiel Wallace says, wasn't he the last communist dictator of Romania? Yes, he was. Yes, Bucharest, Romania. Yes, he was. And who was the guy after him? Romania has changed. Romania is a completely different country now since that has happened. And I don't know. I think I've got a contact in Romania. I'm going to have to give him a call and see if he would like to come on the show and talk about what's going on in Romania. I don't think he's old. He's in his early 30s. I don't know. He probably doesn't remember Ceausescu the way we remember him. I don't know. He lives in the country where it happened. Maybe it's different. Jane Brown says, Rob, I think I am leaning strongly libertarian. Yeah, it's amazing. When the government starts stealing your money to spy on you, all of a sudden we're all a bunch of libertarian fools out here. Oh, we screw government. Yeah, it's amazing how that happens. Jane says 100% third time in 24 hours, Minority Report has been a source of discussion in my world. Wow. And of course, TJ says, stock, sell. TJ says Sal loves me. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. So let me get back to my story here. So this is what I'm going to need when I put out the notice that I'm going to go to these different cities and states, or city and county. I'm going to take this full text. Here's the full text. You can go to my website, go to the Rob blog. You click on the article here, and it will tell you it will give you the wording that I'm going to use, the Freedom from Invasive Surveillance Ordinance. And I'm going to have this double checked, triple checked again. I've ran it through several different times, across several different people, and it looks good to us. We think we're good with it. AI says we're good. Grok, I can compared it with Grok, with Chat GPT, and the other AI that I have. And yeah, they all cross-referenced it, said we're good. This is a good ordinance. So once again, it's what we have to do. And Chris Castleman talks about this all the time. Why do we have to pass these laws? This should be so obvious. We should never have to pass these laws. Let's see, Declaration of Right violation, section 4, section 5, punishment for violation by officials and government agencies. Look at this. Any official of a government agency, and this is in the wording of the ordinance, the law. It says knowingly violates or directs, authorizes, or permits a violation of section 2 of this ordinance shall be guilty of a class A violation pursuant to ORS 203065, and upon conviction shall be punished by a fine of not less than $500, no more than $2,000, as authorized under ORS 153018. And any government agency that violates, or whose officials, employees, agents, or contractors violate section 2 of this ordinance shall be guilty of a class A violation pursuant to ORS 203065, and upon conviction shall be punished by a fine of not less than $1,000, no more than $4,000, as authorized under ORS 153018 for corporations. And I'll get this, each day that a violation continues shall constitute a separate offense. So say they mess up and they use this technology for a whole week, that's 7 days, 7 times whatever the punishment amount, that's what, if they are found guilty, that's what they'll have to pay. That's a beautiful part of this section 5. It says, in addition to the penalties provided herein, any official who violates this ordinance may be subject to disciplinary action, including suspension or removal from office or employment in accordance with applicable personnel rules or law. Any person aggrieved by a violation of this ordinance may bring a civil action against the responsible official and or government agency for injunctive relief, actual damages, and reasonable attorney fees. Let's see. And section 6, amendment or repeal mandatory citizen referendum and supermajority. Now, the reason you put that in there is that they had an initiative. They had an initiative that they passed in, where was it? In Douglas County, and the county commissioners refused to vote on or enact the initiative once it was passed by a vote. I don't know how they were able to get away with that. I'll have to ask Michaela on that. But this would take it out of their hands. This would take it way out of their hands, because they would have to go to the citizens, that's you and me, to ask us if this ordinance should be repealed or not. And then look at this. Look at part B of section 6. It says, any such measure shall require the affirmative vote of at least 2/3, 66.7% of the votes cast on the question in order to become effective. Meaning you're going to need 2/3 of the people to support repealing this law if for some reason they think it's good to get rid of. I don't know why. Maybe there's a future generation who wants to be spied on. That could be the case. I don't know. I really don't know. But that was some of the things that we're going to be working on here in Coos County. And, we're doing a lot of work in the new Republican Party. I don't know if you guys were at the fair. The fair was a blast. There's Linda Johnson. She won the raffle for the rifle. Nice AR rifle, 223. She won that, and we had a great time. Look at that. We had a really good time at the fair. A lot of good people out there. And that elephant right there, I won't show you because I don't want to show you pictures of all the kids, but we have dozens upon dozens of pictures of kids who wanted to get on that elephant and have their picture taken. And if you look, it says, "Stomp out communism." Don't you love that? Stomp out communism. You wouldn't think you would have to say that in this day and age, but you do. You do. There's Leslie and Linda again, waving at the camera. And there's the corner that we fixed up. That corner has never looked so nice. Don't you think? That's a nice corner. And of course, there's Officer Slater, Deputy Slater. I guess he would. If you're a deputy, you're still an officer, right? Yeah. So this is Sheriff's Deputy Slater, and he's there with the police dog, the sheriff's dog, cooling off in the mister. Really, really cool. There's people signing a petition. That petition that's going to give us a constitutional right to hunt, fish, ranch, and farm. Crazy that we should even have to do that, but we do. And I want to thank all you people out there for really standing up for Coos County. There were 2 places that this petition was allowed to be at so that we could get the 2,000 signatures needed to go out and get the 140,000 signatures we're going to need to actually get it on the ballot. We've got those signatures. Thanks to you people from Coos County here, we were able to get those signatures. So if you signed that, you don't have to sign it again. But if you didn't get a chance to sign it in about another 25 days, that's how long the process takes. Once they get the permission from the Secretary of State, we will have that petition at the Republican headquarters. We will have that, and we will hopefully, maybe we will have the ordinance to stop the flock cameras. Yeah, maybe we'll have that in a couple of other petitions for the counties or the cities at the headquarters. So that's going to be coming up. Really good stuff. Oh, and of course, Lynn Claire was there. Great young lady. If you haven't met her, I recommend that you do. She's running for office. She's running for the House, the State House. She's trying to take Boomer Wright's seat, and she does have a challenger, a Democrat challenger, who I don't think is going to be much of a challenge at all because this young lady is very bright. She's only 27. You may be looking at a future governor candidate here, Claire Lynn. That's the young blonde lady in the middle. Let's see. And of course, Court Boyce was there. Court Boyce came by and said hello, and that was nice. But what we want to do, and this is one of the things we were pushing at that booth, is that we are looking for candidates for all 7 cities. All 7 cities have at least 3 city councilors and the mayor up for re-election or up for election. And we want conservatives in those seats. And if you are a registered Republican, hell, if you're just a conservative and you're non-affiliated, give us a call. Drop us a line. You can send me an email at rob@robtaylorreport.com, or you can go to the Coos County Republican website. Just type in Coos County Republicans and Google will take you right there. But this right here is wanted. Conservative candidates, 2026 general election. We have a guy who's a Republican running for the mayor of North Bend. I think we have 3-4 candidates for the city council of North Bend who are Republican. We're looking for a guy or a couple of people to run for the city council of Coos Bay, maybe the mayor of Coos Bay. That'd be great. and maybe a couple of conservatives for the other towns. So if you're thinking about that, there's the number right there, right there. You call the numbers. All your cities are listed. Just, you can pause this. You can go back, pause it, get that number right there, or you can come down to the headquarters and we'll tell you all about it. Oh, look, there's more Coos County Republicans. Yep. There's Daryl. There's Jeremy and Amy. Amy is our new secretary. Great stuff. Coos County Republicans. You can find us at the Coos County Republican headquarters, and we're there Monday through Wednesday from 2 to 6 o'clock, and Amy is there on Thursdays 10 to noon. 10 to noon. But we had a great meeting. Look at that. We had 70 people show up to our last meeting. It was really cool. Had a lot of people showed up there. That's Andrew Brainerd. He's running as a Republican for the North Bend City Council. There is MJ, Mary Jo Golder. She's running for City Council of North Bend. And this gentleman here is also running for the mayor. They all showed up and talked. Actually, Rod Taylor showed up and talked. We had all 3 county commissioners at the meeting. John Sweet, Rod Taylor, and Drew Farmer. And don't worry, they were all separated the whole time. They were never They were never communicating with each other. Very good group of people. Let's see. There's Drew Farmer. And the nice thing, I don't always agree with Drew Farmer. Definitely don't always agree with Drew Farmer. But let me tell you, we went out afterwards to go check out a few of the homeless camps in the area, right there at the Allegheny Bridge, the part that goes over the railroad tracks. There were people camping down there, and he's going to contact, I think it was DEQ, to try to get rid of those. But he was working on it. The problem is that Drew, no matter what Drew does, the commissioners, no matter what they do, the laws haven't changed in Oregon. The law is still working against the county officials and the city officials. Why is that? Well, because we're in a color revolution. That's one reason. But secondly, is because the homeless industrial complex, and Drew was a part of that complex. He still is. The homeless industrial complex makes a lot of money for a lot of people. Doesn't put a lot of people in homes, but it makes a lot of money for a lot of people. Well, maybe it does put a lot of people in homes, really rich and powerful people into their homes because they make so much money off the homeless industrial complex. And we're going to be talking more about that later on. Let's see, I got a couple of comments. Jane says, paralegal perspective here, the ordinance sounds absolutely solid. Yeah, I thought so too. I really checked it out. I'm pretty rigorous. I mean, I am the guy who came up with the Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. I worked with Tyler Smith, and we worked with Michael. Gosh, I can't think of his last name, from the Gun Owners of America. He's in Washington, D.C. I need to get him back on the show. Really good guy. Well, now they use what Tyler Smith crafted here, our Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. That's the template for the ordinance from the Gun Owners of America. So we do a lot of good here. We do a lot of good. Paul Lyle, if that's your real name, says, votes by whom? By the people. The people who are registered to vote, and hopefully have to show an ID. Maybe we'll get to that. And Jane says, Rob, if the county commissioners refuse to enact the ordinance, you may need to run it as an initiative petition for the local ballot. And that's what I was saying. They ran a local initiative petition and they refused to follow the law. This happened in Douglas County, so I'll have to ask Michaela to explain that. Jane says, we definitely need young blood to run for office. Time for fresh ideas and much needed change. Yes. And Jane Brown says, Coos County Republicans are rocking it. Oh, you would not believe how we are rocking it. So I just showed you that ordinance, Jane, about the flock cameras. We've got a public safety ordinance we're going to try to put on the ballot. We got an urban renewal to get rid of urban renewal. to get rid of the drain on our taxes. We want to get rid of the county urban renewal agency. We got a plan to put an initiative on for that one if the county commissioners don't go along with us. And then we have a sanctuary county initiative. We're going to try this here. And we also have a show ID, count the ballots by hand initiative we're going to consider here. All of that is being done by several different Republicans in the party. It's just not my thing that I'm doing. I'm going to be working on one of the initiatives, but I'm part of the petition committee, and we have been working our ass off. We got a lot of things going to be happening. We didn't get the candidates we wanted into office. That's okay. We're going to take the very liberal initiative policy here in Oregon, and we're going to use it against their own people. That's what we're going to do. Jeff Petit says, Drew is going to get hate mail from Sal now. Yeah, Sal, what do you think of that? Drew was at our meeting. Yeah, what do you think of that? Well, Drew's putting on a little bit of weight. Yeah, I think he's in his 40s now. That happens. That really happens. He needs to go do some more walking. It really sucks. Sally boy, remember, I endorsed Gabe for sheriff twice. I hope that helps you out. And Samantha says, include Article 4, Section 4, Article 6, and Article 3, Section 3. Included in our petition for the flock camera. And are you talking Article 4, Section 4, Article 6, and Articles 3, Section 3 of the state constitution or the national constitution? The problem is, Samantha, is you can really just put too much wording into some of these initiatives. In fact, let me remove that and put that back up there. So this initiative, look at that. You got 8 sections on this. And then you got the whereas. I normally don't put the whereas in an ordinance. You don't need it. That's just fluff. That's just lacing on the dress. So you don't need all that whereas. And that's where I'd put those sections that you recommended. Normally, I would just put now, therefore, be it. No, actually, I would get rid of the whereas, and I would have the ordinance number, an ordinance of the County of Coos, Oregon, prohibiting the acquisition, deployment, operation, or use of automated license plate reader systems. I would include that paragraph. I would get rid of all the whereases because they don't mean anything. And then I would go straight to the now, therefore, be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of Coos County, Oregon, as follows. And of course, that's if they passed it as a referral. That's what happened. That's the name of it. If a board or a city does it, it's a referral to the ballot, and they won't do it. So we're going to have to do this ourselves. But yeah, you can look at this. You can really start adding on to an ordinance. And at some point, I just think we should just cut it off. As long as it has the directive and it has the punishment, I think we're good. But I see we have more comments. National, and this is for the sanctuary one. Okay, all right. And Jane Brown says 100% too much wording can confuse voters. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That's what happened with my sanctuary ordinance for the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance had just too much damn wording to it, and we should have stuck with just a directive and a punishment for not following the directive. Well, live and learn. Let's see. What else did I have here? Yeah, let's remove that and get back to our meeting. Yeah, it was a great meeting. Like I said, we had over 70 people show up, and it was real good. If you ever want to go to the Republican headquarters, you can find us at 93677 Newport Lane. That's 93677 Newport Lane. And I take a lot of heat because there is one Republican I refuse to support. I won't mention that person's name, but it's funny. I support all the other Republicans. Every single one of the Republicans, say one, I support them all. And they're not my first choice. Actually, Monique Despain and Claire Lynn were my first choice for their category. Christine Drazen wasn't my first choice, but that's who we have. And I'll tell you what, I think she's a hell of a lot better choice than who's that crazy bitch that's there? Tina Kotek. Yeah, Tina. God, woo. Boy, I wish I could always forget that name. Yeah, but Tina Kotek, she's up in office, and look how screwed up she's got the state. Christine Drazen, there's no way she could do any worse. I think she would definitely be an improvement. And so I'm looking for strong leadership, and I think this is a strong team here. Monique Despain is a former JAG attorney. Okay, that's you. You have to have balls of brass steel to be able to deal with the criminals and the military justice complex. Monique Despain, I imagine she has, she's dealt with some of the worst as a JAG officer. I would love to hear some of her stories, but she's very well, more than qualified than what's that chick's name? Val Hoyle. Yeah, the Lamota chick. Yeah, she's much more qualified for the job than the Lamota chick. That's definitely for sure. So I'm asking all of you, put our differences aside and let's support these three young ladies, Christine Drazen, Monique Despain, and Claire Lynn. Like I said, Claire Lynn's only 27. We may be looking at someone who has a nice career ahead of her in Oregon politics. Who knows? Who knows? It might be the case. Let's see. And just to go over it, to keep it all fresh, remember Steve Hamerson is running for commissioner in Douglas County. Claire Lynn, of course, Monique Despain, and Christine Drazen are also running, just to run that through. Let's see. I think I had a few more stories I want to talk about, but we're getting to the 2-hour mark, and I don't really want to keep you guys any more out of this beautiful weather. In fact, if you're watching this podcast in Oregon, because we have so few nice days, you probably should be arrested. What can I say? You should be watching this later, but that's all right. I appreciate you turning in. Let's see. Samantha says, if you do one, okay, and we'll do one. Jeff Petit says, anyone but Kotek, literally anyone. I know Mickey Mouse could be running, and I'd put that damn rodent in before I'd have Tina Kotek again. Yeah, crazy stuff. Let's see. I am sponsored, and I'll tell you what, these guys just freaking rock at 3H Tree Service. They're just badass. They got a badass reputation where they come in, they get the job done, they do it for a fair price, and they don't leave a mess when they leave. It's beautiful. They remove those trees with surgical precision. Maybe you got some Antifa trees. You got some Antifa trees? People going, what's an Antifa tree? You know, the Antifa trees, the ones that can just burst into flames and are a fire hazard. They've got diseases. They're bug infested. They're a liability. They're Antifa trees. Well, Matt Holman, he's an expert at taking out Antifa trees, and he can do that for all of you. He does tree removal, tree trimming, and lot clearing. You got a lot, he can clear that for you. And he is a licensed arborist. So that's something to go and check out. You can get a free estimate on how much all this costs. So call him today at 541-294-1800, or check out his Facebook page of the same name, 3H Tree Service, and check out their videos. Really good stuff. 541-294-1800, 3H Tree Service. And of course, Tom and Gigs. I was over there a couple of weeks ago talking to Tim and Shanna, and boy, they were going through a lot of trouble, a lot of personal stuff in their life, and they're doing so much better now. But their business is always a great place if you need your car repaired. I mean, they've got lift kits, they got performance accessories. You can find them at 135 South Shoneman Street, Coos Bay, Oregon. Give them a call at 541-888-4660 and find out if your car is travel worthy. Is your car travel worthy? I'm not even sure if I'm travel worthy. But if your car, you're not sure if that car can make the trip, give a call to Tom and Gigs and have your car inspected, and they'll let you know if your car is travel worthy, because sometimes your car is just not worthy of taking that trip. What can I tell you? That happens. And remember, They've got RC cars. They got drones. I mean, that place is, if you've got an RC car and you need some type of equipment, little equipment for that RC car, go to Tom and Gigs. They probably have it. They've got all that stuff. They got the remote control fighter pilot planes, and they've got the remote control boats. You know, maybe we can go to Mingus Park next time. They also have tannerite. If you need some tannerite, you can get it from Tom and Gigs. But remember, you do have to be 18 years or older to purchase tannerite. Once again, 541-888-4660s. Tom and Gigs, 541-888-4660. And Herbal Choices, the cannabis dispensary of my choice. Herbal Choices, they have cannabis, they have gummies, they have sodas with infused cannabis. You name it, they've got it. They take care of all your cannabis needs, and they're the dispensary of my choice, Herbal Choice. And believe me, they've got some premium cannabis right there. And they have sales usually on a regular basis. Every Wednesday is Wild Wednesday. So all their wild products, that's WYLD, wild products are 20% off at Herbal Choices. And remember, you do have to be 18 years or older to get into Herbal Choices. Let's see, and you can find out more at the herbalchoices.com website. Very, very good quality, very good stuff at Herbal Choices. And remember, they do have 5 locations, one in Bandon, one in Coos Bay, one in North Bend, one in Reedsport, and one in Charleston. All good places to go. And let's see. Jane Brown says, I strongly agree. She was talking about that ordinance. Jane Brown says, my family is voting for Steve. I hope so. He's a good guy. We should all vote for him. And of course, Sally Boy says, you can vote for me for Oregon governor. Yeah, you would like that, wouldn't you? You would like that a lot. We all vote for Sally Boy. Sally Boy for governor. The problem is Sally Boy, you're so feminine, and the woman that's in there now is so butch, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Who is that? Is that Tina Kotek? No, that's Sally Boy. Well, how the hell would I know if it wasn't for your, sexual registration? We really wouldn't know the difference. Well, folks, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. This Friday, I haven't told them yet, but I think I'm going to do the Friday night rant from the Douglas County Fair. I think I've got my mic problem fixed. I'm going to work on it this week, and hopefully I'm going to be able to go to the Douglas County Fair this Friday to do the Friday night rant. Hopefully Michaela will be there and the other crew will be there. Maybe they'll stick around, and we'll walk around talking to people, because last year was it last year? Was it the year before last? I got to do the show there. And it was really cool because I got to talk to a lot of people I normally wouldn't talk to because they were stuck in the booth. You get stuck in that booth because you paid all that money to be there, and now you're stuck in this booth trying to sell something. They need people to talk to, especially at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. Or actually, I should say Friday night. This Friday night for the Friday night rant. Hope to have a guest for you on Monday. We will see. It all depends. But until then, folks, you know what I always say? Carry on, Coos County. Carry on.